This is the new uConnect 5 screen you're going to find inside of the Jeep Wrangler. There are technically two different options available. It's either going to be one with navigation or one without. The one without factory navigation is technically standard in the lower trims, and then with factory nav is going to be optional or standard in some of the higher trims of the vehicle. But let's walk through. I'll show you what you need to know. So this is going to be your basic home screen. You've got media button, comfort, and a few others, so you can go directly through the outside. Along the very top, you can see what's going on with your driver's side temperature, turn on your heated seats or steering wheel, and then you can sync up. So let's say if you've got the passenger side set to something different, you pull down the driver's side, you can sync it up to the passenger to whatever the driver's side is. You've got this button along the top in order to add in profiles. One really nice thing about adding in a profile is that if you've got multiple people driving, it's going to remember all of your settings. If you're the only driver, here nor there, but if you've got multiple people driving, very useful setting. There's a valet mode, and what that's going to do is lock the screen out after you enter in a PIN. So useful if you're dropping your vehicle off for service, you're concerned about privacy, whatever the case may be. You can see what the outside temperature is if you're currently connected to Wi-Fi, and then you've got a button press there in order to change the date and time, look at your rear view camera, look at your profiles, notifications, look at Alexa, device manager, and things like that. What station's currently playing or what song, etc. And then you've got your passenger side controls on top of that. Moving back home, this is going to be your typical home screen. So you've got your factory navigation that you can go and shoot across full screen, or your radio that you can go full screen on as well. If you swipe to the side, you can also add in your own widgets. So let's say if you're a big fan of having certain things, like because this is the 4xe, let's say if you want to have your power flow on there, along with, let's see, what else would we want? Maybe schedule summary. There we go. So you've got your basics there, but you can add in another page now. So let's say if you wanted another one with another dual layout, you can add in that page. Once it loads up, should take a second. Perfect. Let's add in a widget. And maybe for this one, you want to have, I don't know, maybe your vehicle pitch and roll. And then you also want to have your seats and wheel. So you can essentially create whatever screens that you want to on this thing, which is kind of neat. And then you can also delete or reorder pages too. So if you kind of played around with it too much, you would have the flexibility of deleting these things as well. Hopping into media, you've got a series of sources. So AM, FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth. So you could hook your phone up to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay to stream that way. Or you can just go Bluetooth instead if you wanted to for either phone calls, music, or both. But I'll show you that once we actually set up a phone. You've also got USB. So if you've got a USB stick with MP3s, that would be available as an option. And then there's a traditional aux cable. You can also press along the side if you wanted to jump into any of these hot buttons too. And then you can show and hide different sources along the left. You can see what's now playing, browse. So if you're new to an area, you're not sure what stations you can listen to, these are all of the available options for each source. So if you were in AM instead and you go to browse, that's going to give you all of these options that are available. Same idea, Sirius XM, you navigate through and you can browse all different stations that are available. You've got your category views and see everything that's available there. You've got audio settings, so you can tweak out your balance and fade. So if you're the only one driving or in the vehicle, versus centered out, change out the bass, mid-range, and the treble. Usually I recommend like bass cranked by 3, mid-range stuck, and then your treble at -2 gives you pretty good audio. Speed adjusted volume, as you go faster or slower, it's going to automatically adjust the volume for you. If you're on, big one would be Sirius XM, so you can start a song over, but there are a few other ones along the side there. So if you push the one along the top that takes you to all of your Sirius XM settings, big one here is going to be listener settings. So if you wanted to allow notifications, block explicit content, reset your history, things like that. But you could also, if you like a song, you can also get a notification there. So can't set notifications just because of the song that's there. There we go. Yeah, the song was just about changed, but we can add in a notification now. So if a song comes on or an artist comes on that you like, you can save song or artist. Big benefit there is that if it starts playing again, it's going to give you a notification to let you know. You can also see all of your different presets along the bottom. So you can go all presets to see which ones you've saved so far. You could also max out and give yourself a number of other presets, but if you wanted to save one, it's straightforward. So on this preset page, you could push if you want to, and that's going to save the station that you're currently on. But let's say if you wanted to save another station, just tune to whatever station you want, and then you're just going to press and hold, and that saves it that way instead. Moving into comfort settings, so you've got a series of different climate settings down the center stack, but you've got some different ones along the inside here and just graphically laid out nicely. So do you want the fan going to your windshield face feet? Do you want to turn on your heated seats, heated steering wheel, yes, no, max AC, etc. You can sync up the driver to the passenger side. You can adjust your fan speed by dragging and dropping, auto or air circulation. This thing does have factory navigation. Very nice, pinch to zoom capabilities. You can go this way as well. You can easily search for addresses on top of that. So a few different ways that you can search. Like if you wanted to search by point of interest icons, you could do that. So let's say if we wanted to go to like a Tim Hortons, give yourself a second and then it's going to search. So you can see there, gives you a few options, but let's go to one that's further away. And you've got a few options here. So you can add it as a favorite. You could use it as a starting point, search, or look at more information about the address, or just hit drive. And when you do that, it's going to give you a few different options in order to get there. So you can just select whatever one you want and then just hit drive. And there you go. So you can see some options along the bottom. So you can see what parking's available, gas along the way. You can do a full route overview. You can also find an alternative route. You can avoid certain things, avoid part of route.
You will
Speed
arrive
traps.
at your destination at 2:24 p.m.
You can route different ways as well. So there are a ton of options available. But let's say if you wanted to have the fastest, shortest, and the most eco-friendly route, you can avoid things. So if you didn't want to go on a toll road or ferry, whatever the case may be, and then you can also send your destination to your phone as well. Button press to get back to the map. You can end it along the side. Let's end. And it's that simple. You can also search by GPS coordinate, so it's latitude first, longitude second, if you wanted to search that route. Is that the basics there? Yeah, that is just about everything. Other options, so you can search, you can add in a home or a work address. One of the big benefits there is that you can push the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, and then you can say navigate home, navigate to work,
Cancelled.
whatever the case may be. So there are a lot of options that are available. Moving into settings, you can show different things. You can configure your map view. So if you wanted to have it auto zoom, so as you get closer to obstacles, does it zoom in or zoom out? Sounds and alerts. So if you want to have cameras showing, if you want the vehicle to tell you when you're speeding, if there's a traffic jam coming up, you can essentially say what alerts you do or don't want inside of this thing. So many settings. Honestly, there aren't too many crazy ones that I'd really recommend diving into. Next up, adding in a phone. So as of right now, you can see that no phone is connected, and it's very straightforward in order to add in a phone. So on your phone, all you're going to do on the device, you're going to hit yes, and we're looking for uConnect with a crazy long name, but we could adjust that. I'll show you how it's done in just a second. Pins match up, so yes and pair. Do you want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? I'm going to say don't allow for now. Okay, there we go. So you can see there that we're fully connected, and we do have the option of setting up wireless Apple CarPlay. So let's hit use CarPlay. Okay. Follow instructions on the device. So as of right now, we're just waiting for it to flip over to CarPlay. Shall we connect it? Ah, there we go. We're fully connected. Would you look at that? So you can see there you've got whatever map application was last opened up. You can also see what's going on with whatever you've been listening to last on your phone. And then you've got like a miscellaneous app. Along the side of CarPlay, you can see what time it currently is. You can see what battery percentage you've got left, what map application you've got opened up last. No pinch to zoom capabilities, but you could do like a drag and drop. If you wanted to zoom in and out, you could do it that way instead. So just along the side, you've got a few, so your current speed. You could move yourself around, or you've also got this, so you can report different things on top of that. It's just like one of the nice things of Waze. So along the side, there are a few different options available. If you push the button along the very bottom there, that jumps you between either this home screen or this icon screen instead. And then, like I said, along the side, it's which map application was opened last. So let's say if we open up Apple Maps instead, so you can see there, Apple Maps is opened. No pinch to zoom capabilities, unfortunately, but you can search for destinations, look at previous destinations, change between different modes, increase or decrease that way, move yourself around. Or you can jump into Google Maps, and same idea, you can search for addresses, you could change out your route options and a few other things. This is whatever audio application was open last. So if you were listening to podcasts, if you were listening to other things, that would essentially be whatever audio was opened up last instead. And then you've got whatever miscellaneous app was opened. So it's straightforward. Now, if you hit CarPlay along the side, you can launch your uConnect phone or go to your device manager. And then device manager, you can see there, currently connected to CarPlay. But if you didn't want CarPlay, you could just select your phone. So it's going to disconnect the CarPlay session and hook you up just over your phone, or you can hook yourself up for music. So it can essentially be either one of these two or both, and then it's strictly going to be CarPlay. So either or. But you've got quite a few options, and it's that simple, setting up an iPhone device inside of the Wrangler. Setting up an Android is the exact same process. So if you weren't on this screen, like let's say if you're on the home screen instead, you just tap phone, but I've got the iPhone that's currently connected. So you're going to go just device manager along the bottom, and that's going to pull you up to this screen instead. So all you're going to do, add device, and on your phone, you're going to scan, and you're looking for that uConnect name. Pins match up, so yes and okay. Do you want to connect to Android? So I'm going to say no to contacts and messages, but I want to say yes to Android Auto. I'm going to continue. Boom. 3, 2, 1. We are fully connected there. You can see destinations along the outside. You can also, very similar to the iPhone side, adjust different route options. You can change your display mode, so north up, out that way. You can do pinch to zoom here on top of that. Along the outside, you can see what your current connection status is, the current time, map application, Google Assistant, and that's something I didn't point out on the Siri side as well. You would technically have your Siri Assistant if you were hooked up through iPhones, but then you can zoom in and out this way. You've got your microphone as you saw there, or you can go to a split screen, or a little icon view instead. So you can jump back to the uConnect main screen, or go to any of these other options. So not quite as much flexibility as you saw on the iPhone side of things, but still is nice you've got these available. You can jump into your uConnect phone or the device manager again. So as you can see there, let's go this way. So let's say if you wanted to have one phone connected to phones to make phone calls and the other one for music. So you can kind of set it up. So it's essentially any one of these four, but you can be set up to either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It's not both of them. So it's either going to be Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, or it's a mix of the four of these things here, which is kind of neat. And then if you wanted to delete a device, you could go this way. You could also make it a favorite. So if you've got multiple phones connected to the vehicle, you can select whether or not it's a favorite. You could disable the phone, disable the Bluetooth audio, you can disconnect it, or you can fully remove it. And that leaves us with the Samsung, and same idea. Multiple phones connected, we could change it out. You can go to charge only mode, disconnect, or fully delete. So 3, 2, 1, and you're fully deleted. And it's that simple setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the Wrangler. Next up, hopping into vehicle settings. Now, the big one, because this is the 4xe, is going to be this eHybrid mode. So you can see there, as of right now, because we're in the eSave mode, that means that the vehicle is going to be forcing charge to go to the actual battery itself. So you can see there what's going on and how much is currently being used. You can see driving history. So as you go to drive, it's going to tell you how much you've driven inside of your electric range. And then you call like how much power you've gained by regenerative braking. And that's one nice thing, because you could plug in order to charge this thing up. You can just have it in the eSave mode, so the gas engine is going to be charging it up, or as you regenerative brake, it's going to charge up the battery as well. This is neat. You've got 3 individual schedule modes here, so pushing the arrow along the side gives you the option of doing one of 2 things. Let's deselect. So you've got 3 options. You can set your charge. So let's say if you want to charge just when it's going to be cheap electricity rates, so like 9 o'clock p.m. until, I don't know, let's say it's 6 o'clock a.m. So what that means is that from 9 until 6, you're going to charge up, or you can charge until full. And then what days of the week are you charging up? So let's say if you're going to get cheap electricity rates Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, between those times, you can charge up at any point in time there. So what we're going to do, let's say yes to this and save that as one schedule. You can then go into a secondary one, and let's say you want a charge schedule for any time full, and that's going to be for your weekends. So Saturday and Sunday. Back and yes, and you can see there, you're going to charge from 9 until 6, Monday to Friday, charge for Saturday and Sunday at any time until you're full. And then if you hop back inside, you can even set your climate schedule. So one cool thing is you're essentially preconditioning your cabin if you want to. So what time do you normally leave at what time of the day? So let's say if you normally leave at 9 a.m., you can have it set up so that your climate's automatically going to come on. It's essentially going to precondition the cabin for you when you hop inside. Really, really nice. And then you've got two different modes. So either battery save or your battery charge mode. So battery save essentially is going to be as you go to brake or as you go to drive, versus battery charge mode means that the electric battery is never going to come on. It's essentially going to use the engine in order to recharge the battery as you drive, and then regenerative braking and things like that. But I know quite a few options there, but that's the basics of the eHybrid system. Next up, you've got dashboard with off-road pages. So you can see what's going on with your current steering angle, accessory gauges, vehicle pitch and roll, so you can see what angle you're on, and then the front-facing camera as well. You can go front-facing versus rear-facing camera there, which is kind of cool. I like it. It's nice. I love the front-facing camera. Very, very useful. Moving back to controls, auto-dimming rear-view mirror. You can toggle off or hot button press to get into your cameras, or a series of different settings. So this is going to be your basic display. Do you want to be in Spanish, English, Italian, or French? Different display modes. So as of right now, it's in auto mode, but you can manually adjust the brightness. Different themes. So if you wanted to change out the basic look, so this is the dark mode, which I love. You can go into a light mode instead. Ooh, she bright. Or you can go into an auto mode. That one's really a matter of personal preference. I just really prefer to have this lighter mode instead, or the dark mode instead. I really love the look of it. Matter of preference. There's a touchscreen beep available. And then from there, you've got my profile. So if you've got a unique profile that's been set up, when you're in the actual vehicle screen there, what do you want your profile settings to be? So it's the exact same, well, pretty much the exact same as what we saw on the display, but this is for your own unique profile instead. Safety and driving assistance, big one there. So you've got your reverse sensing system volume. So as you go to back up, is it low, medium, or high? You could actually toggle the system off down the center stack if you want to. Blind spot system. Do you want to have nothing come up on your side view mirrors? Do you want your lights to come on? Or do you want a light and a chime when somebody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle? Hybrid electric mode. Nothing crazy there. You can change out the date and time. Any of these things might be grayed out if you're in, there we go, that's what I'm looking for, sync by GPS mode. So when you're in auto sync mode, it grays out different options. But if that mode's turned off, you can set the time yourself if you want to. Yeah, the time was even off there. Nice. So you can see there, it's adjusted the time to what it should be. You can look at phone and Bluetooth manager. So hop back into your device manager. Do not disturb, enable 2 phones, and also have your phone pop-ups display in your cluster screen. Voice options. So when you press the voice command prompt, this is the command prompt.
Cancelled.
So you can see there, we've got a female, but you've got the option of going female, male, wake up word. So rather than pressing the voice command prompt, you could say, hey Jeep, or hey uConnect if you want, for it to pull up this screen. But I really recommend getting used to this because there are so many things that you can do. Like you can control the climate if you want to. You can change out the fan speed and things like that. So I definitely recommend getting the hang of this. Like spend a little bit of time and play around with the voice command prompts because you've got so many climate settings, but being able to control everything with your voice is amazing. And then once you're okay with the command list, you can just turn it off if you want to. Series of options for navigation, options for your camera there as well. So do you want your rear camera guidelines? So if you're in reverse, you've got your guidelines there, so whether or not that one shows up. And same idea when you're in your front-facing camera. Mirrors and wipers. Do you want your headlights to turn on with your wipers as they go? Options for lights. So the big one here is headlight delay. So when you go to lock the vehicle, do the lamps stay on for 30 seconds or do they just turn off? You've got a few other options there. I think it goes up to 90 seconds. And that's how long do those lights stay on for. Do you want the headlights to approach as you're walking up to the vehicle with the fob on you? Auto high beam. If the high beams are turned on and the vehicle senses somebody's oncoming, it's going to dim them and then flip them right back up to full again afterwards. Series of different options that are available there for the doors. When do you want them to unlock, lock? Do you want them to flash when you lock them? Do you want the horn to sound? Yes or no? When you press once, twice, etc. Nothing crazy there. Seats and comfort. There we go. So when you remote start, do you want to have, there you go, all starts. Do you want to have the vehicle determine what the cabin temperature should be automatically when you remote start or every time that you start? Or do you never want it to determine what it's going on itself? When you turn key off options, which we've already seen some of these, audio settings, which we've already seen, notifications, whether or not those are available on the vehicle. Sirius XM setup, you can block explicit content or go into your account. Software updates, system information, and do a reset of a bunch of things. So if your radio's giving you issues, you can reset that. You can clear all personal data, clear your Wi-Fi passwords for phone projection and things like that. So there are quite a few options, and then even factory reset. So if you're selling your vehicle, you can bring it back to a factory default instead. That's about it. Next up is going to be your app screen. So there are two different ones, so either favorites or all. And this one essentially is going to be like a hot button press in order to get into some of these other options. So you get a hot button press in order to get into your electric mode, or you can look at all of the different settings that are available. So these are the ones that are available for your media, for comfort, navigation, phone, etc. So you could have any of these essentially as like one of these hot button presses instead. So let's say if you wanted to save this as a favorite, you can do that. Your rear camera, add it as a favorite. So rather than fiddling through all of your different screens, you could just now hit apps, and then in your favorites, you could go forward camera. Boom, clear your glass, exit out of that. If you didn't want Android Auto, we can get rid of that. You didn't want Alexa, we could get rid of that as well. So you can kind of customize your favorite screens based off of the different settings that are available inside of the vehicle. Kind of neat. But I know that's a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the uConnect screen inside of the Wrangler 4xe.